is the Apparelist podcast, designed to bring you real-life conversation about high-level topics relevant to the decorated apparel community. All right, welcome Apparelist friends, family, decorating community to another episode of the Apparelist podcast. We are here to bring you expert-led business conversations about high-level topics like sales, OSHA and safety, and all that good stuff. This month, I'm really excited. We have a guest who I was introduced to through a mutual friend. And as I've gotten to know this person, I've really realized he brings a lot of good points and good education to the industry. So thought, let's bring him on, and we're going to have a little discussion about discounts. Woo, big topic. So let's welcome in Jesse Podi of Startup Screen Printing. Jesse, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Cassie. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And hopefully our Apparelist listeners and subscribers recognize you from some of the content you've started creating for us.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully that's been enjoyable and helpful for those that have watched it.
Well, I personally found it helpful. And actually, this might be a great time. Do you just kind of want to give all of our listeners, a little bit of backstory about you and your experience in the industry and, just like what's your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got started in the screen print industry back in 2013, I believe it was. I was asked to join a print shop that some friends of mine had purchased, and I was a graphic designer most of my career. So they wanted me to come in and handle the artwork and handle the production team at the same time, manage the production. Knew nothing about screen printing, had designed one shirt for a church. It was my only foray into what screen printing was. And so came in as a total newbie and had to kind of learn on the job. But it was a lot of fun and fell in love with the industry like so many do because there's so many great aspects of this industry itself and the people in it. And was at that shop for about 3 years. The last 6 to 8 months, I ran all the day-to-day operations. So really got my hands dirty in what it takes to run a print shop. That was about $1 million shop, I think was our revenue on a yearly run. And so then I moved to Colorado. That was in Tennessee. Moved to Colorado in 2016. Consulted with that shop a little bit as they changed ownership and helped the new owners get up to speed. And then just knew I wanted to keep doing it because, again, you fall in love with the industry, you don't want to get out of it. So started my own shop, Alpine Apparel Company. I run that out of my basement. And just fast forward to the last couple of years, I in my day job, I'm a consultant for marketing technology and for big brands. And being a consultant, you just kind of learn that you really love to teach. And that was my story. And so I wanted to combine my love of teaching and consulting with helping people start and grow profitable screen print companies. And so that's the catalyst for Startup Screen Printing, and all of the other content and things that I'm involved in and that I do on a regular basis now is just trying to help those who are getting started or those who are ready to scale make the right decisions. Because once you get into screen printing, just like any other art, you realize that's like a quarter of what you need to know to run a business. So just trying to help people out with that part of it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, a huge part of being able to operate efficiently in this industry is, those creativity skills, those graphic design skills, the awesome, ideas for great artwork and things like that. But running a business, whole other ballgame. Like it's a lot. So yeah, admirable what you're doing for the industry. I think it fills a real need and hunger for like that education. And actually, that's what we're here to talk about today. Because while you've done some, great content for us on a variety of topics, one of the things that you said to me early on in our discussions, or you brought up, was this topic of discounts. And it's so funny because so many decorators talk about this. And like a lot of times people who are just starting will, venture into this murky world. So I think it's a topic, and I'm so glad you brought it up. I think it's a topic definitely a lot of people will be interested to hear your take on it. So before we get into the ugly side of discounts, let's keep things positive. Let's talk about, what are some of the benefits of offering discounts and having like discount programs? What do you see as like the lighter side of that?
Well, really, the number one value of a discount is really the perception that it gives for the customer. Anybody who's going to purchase something, no matter who you are, I'm sure we both feel this way as well. anytime you can get more than what you pay for, that's the desired outcome, right? Like you want to get more than you pay for. And so when it comes to the value of a discount, that's really where it lies, is like your customers getting that sensation of getting more than they paid for. And so when they can get that from you, they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, I personally like a good discount. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
we
gonna
all do.
lie. Like, obviously, I don't want to see a company who's constantly discounting because then I'm like, what's going on here? Man, yeah, I was just at Kohl's the other day with my son's shopping for Easter clothes, and my son found a shirt that fit him on like the discount rack for like $8. I'm like, yeah, this is great. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, you get some companies who just build a business around that. For example, Hobby Lobby. When's the last time you
Yeah.
saw their stuff not on discount?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's actually their everyday price. They just call it a discount.
Right. And it builds a perception, right?
It does.
Of something in the buyer's minds. So, I mean, I'm curious of something that we're kind of skirting around is this concept that like a good discount or something can help build a relationship with customers. I mean, do you kind of feel the same way? Do you kind of see it as like a tool in the toolbox to help, further that relationship along with customers?
Yeah, it can be when used correctly. I think where a
Mhm.
lot of shops go wrong is they use a discount to try to convince someone to make a purchase. And
Oh.
so a customer comes in and they see that their only deciding factor was that they got a quote unquote discount from you. And I mean, you could consider that a discount customer. And do we really want to build our business with a bunch of discount customers? And I would argue that we do not. So, yeah, it is a tool that can be used, but we just got to use it carefully.
Ah, I knew we were going to get to this side of the conversation quickly, just because you're right. I do think there's a time and a place. It
Yep.
can have real value, as you have said, but as you just mentioned, there can be some danger there. So
Mhm.
aside from, using discounts as only a way to bring customers in, or, kind of like that little hook, if
Mhm.
you will, what are some other dangers of going too far down this path?
Well, when you, if this all really stems around how you're defining discounts. And so we can get into that in a minute. But when you're continually adding discounts to your pricing, you're cutting into your margin, right? So at some point, if you continue to do that on every order, then your margin's going to continue to shrink and you're going to struggle to scale and struggle to find enough profitability in your business because you're discounting everything. But also when you discount an order for a customer and the way you convey that to that customer, they can see that you've discounted and they're going to wonder why you're not willing to do that on the next one. And you know, when the
Mhm.
price is back up to normal, they're either going to wonder why or they're going to ask you to do it again, or they're going to wait until they see you offering another discount and then they're going to purchase. And that doesn't help you.
Yeah. This is kind of like dealing, I hate equating it, but it's kind of like dealing with kids. You give them an inch, they're going to take a
Yeah.
mile.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And kind of along those same lines, a lot of the conversations that we overhear in the industry and just kind of talk to some of our subscribers about, all of the apparel decorators about is especially when they're just starting off. They're kind of brand new to the industry. It seems like it's kind of common practice that to kind of get going, these new shops are offering kind of like a new discount, brand new launch, and things like that. What are your thoughts on that? I'm just curious because I kind of wonder if launching a business that way or kind of coming out of the gate with a discount might not be the greatest either.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and it is the first tool in a toolbox for new shops because they hear like, "Oh, how do I convince?" That's how they go approach this. Like, how can I convince this person to use me because I don't have any history to point
Yeah,
back to? I don't have any proof to show that I know what I'm doing.
right.
What I encourage shops to do is just be honest about that. Let them know that you're just starting and that you're trying to gain experience and get more business, and you'd love an opportunity to to print their stuff to get more experience. And most people are okay with that. And so we don't always have to use that discount as a way to convince people, but I think that's what it is. It's just you're in focus of how do I get more orders? How do I get more orders? How do I get more orders? How do I convince people to use me, even though I don't have anything to show them as proof that I know what I'm doing or that I can print good quality? And so we use that as a tool. Mark Coudray would argue that this ends up being the misconception that any order is a good order, and that's not always the case. And so we just see every opportunity as an order. We got to do everything we can to get that order. And so sometimes that's not actually true. You shouldn't get that order. And if you have to apply discounts to get every order, you might need to reframe your value proposition.
Yeah, I think that goes to like a deeper conversation of what is your business model and your plan? Because if this is how you're getting customers, you might need to rethink the entire operation as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. And that will kind of lead to that definition of discounts that I was alluding to earlier, in that it's not that adding discounts or having a discount is bad. It's the way we convey that. And so what I like to tell people is add value, not discounts. So if we go back to what a discount provides in a customer's mind, it provides a sense of getting more than they paid for. Well, discounting your price is one way to accomplish that sensation for a customer. But there's another way that actually benefits everybody. And the other way is to add more value to an order at that full price. Customer still walks away feeling like they got more than they paid for, and you didn't have to cut into your margin. And so with a print shop, that might be folding, folding and bagging, things that maybe take up a little bit more time, but they don't have any hard costs related to them. Or maybe the hard costs are minimal, but the value is a little higher. So some of that depends on the niche that you're really focused on, who your audience is, as to what extra value you can add. If your customers are super busy, maybe you deliver for free. You drive to their local thing and you hand it to them. And that's an added thing that they can pay for, but it doesn't cost you something extra. Or maybe you say, we'll add in free delivery. Well, now they're getting something extra that didn't cost you anything. So they get that sensation of having a discount without you having to eat into your margins.
Yeah. And that's such an interesting point, because I think for a long time, and even up until very recently, people had in their heads, okay, what can I get for the cheapest price? Obviously, there's these huge topics of like fast fashion and then you talk about all the people who put things in their cart and then they see the delivery or they see the shipping costs and don't ever buy, blah, 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 blah. But I think we're starting to see a mindset shift there where it's like, it's people are now maybe are willing to pay a little bit higher of a cost if they are getting that extra delivery, or they are getting like a better screen printed design that's going to be higher quality, or you did go the extra effort to have the conversation with them to be like, hey, look, maybe I don't have the most experience, but here's what I can assure you of. Those things are starting to sort of shift, I think, the mindset of a lot of buyers today into where they're placing their value and what they look for from a decorator.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you approach situations like this, it begins to also challenge your pricing model as well. And so it takes us away from this whole, how do we plug things into a calculator and get the same formula for every customer? And instead we start to decommoditize what we offer and begin to focus on what value package are we offering this customer that relates to what they're trying to do. And that's different for every customer. And so you may be able to price something super high, and maybe it's a very simple print and a cheap shirt, but the value that's being provided for that customer, what they're getting in exchange, and they're able to use that apparel for is really high. So you can merit charging a lot. And so I love that taking this approach challenges that as well, because that's also a struggle in the screen print industry. Is everybody's focus is, how do I price this? What's the formula? And how much can I discount it? But instead it's, well, what's the value? Who am I serving? What would they be willing to pay for it? And what extra value can I add to make it worth even more?
Oh, I love that. And that's a whole other like path we could go down, maybe a different day, maybe another episode
Yeah.
that you join us is talking about pricing models and things like that. But curious what your thoughts are about the friends and the family, because so many apparel decorators have those family members, have those friends that are like, yo, can you just hook me up? Come on, do me a favor. I'm just asking you for this. Like, I just need a few. Um, which, is nice to do for your aunt and uncle, is nice to do maybe for your nephew's T-ball league, say. But I also think that might be kind of a dangerous path to go down because before you know it, they're now utilizing you to, embroider all their companies, 3/4 zip polos and all this stuff. So, any advice you want to share when that conversation comes up?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of this begins to change depending on where you're at in the journey, whether you're just starting or you've been established for a while. That's how I tell people to get their first order, is to tell everybody that you're getting into screen printing. And it never fails that somebody knows somebody that needs something printed, but they didn't before you mentioned that you do it. So it's a great way to get your first bit of customers. And in that point, you're just do it for whatever they're willing to pay for, because you're trying to get experience, you're trying to get your name out. But once you're established and your profitability becomes important, you're trying to grow your business. It is tough situations to get into that. I think you have to judge each of them individually. Sometimes there are opportunities, to print for a group that maybe is going to get your name in front of some pretty, larger crowds, or maybe in front of, because you never know which parent on the T-ball league has a big corporation, right? And now suddenly they're interested in what you printed. So it's a great opportunity there. But anytime I'm approached with those, if I price something for friends and family at a discount, or I give them a special rate, I usually will always show on the invoice what the original price was and how much they were discounted.
Yeah.
Because if you just put the price at the discounted price, they think that's your price. So if you do discount anything, always put the full price and then how much was discounted, so that they know they got a special situation right there and they should expect it to be full price next time.
Yes, transparency goes back to that, like you were saying earlier, just be very, very transparent. Even though they're your friends and family, be very transparent with them about the information.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so say it is time to offer the discount, right? Maybe we should run a promotion, or like I think I saw, maybe it was like a LinkedIn post or some feedback or something like that about, a decorator who was wanting to run a special promotion. I don't know if they were trying to offload some inventory, whatever. How does a decorator make the determination that, yes, now is an appropriate time to offer a discount? What are some of the factors that sort of play into that decision, or some scenarios that maybe we can talk about?
The immediate things that I could think of where it might be worth considering offering a discount might be a timing thing, like a seasonal. If you're trying to kick off the beginning of a season that's going to be pretty busy for your orders, typically, if you're looking at your yearly schedule and you're saying, this type of year begins to slow down or it begins to pick up, let's get some coming in. You might want to offer those, but I think the most important thing in that is to offer them individually and not just as a ad campaign. Because when you offer discount as an ad campaign to the general audience, you are attracting discount customers. But if you offer them individually in a one-on-one situation, or maybe to your email list, and you say, hey, we have this special opportunity. If you're willing to do this, then we're willing to do this. And so I always try to clarify, like, this discount's not ongoing. This is if you order this, maybe it's a specific shirt, or maybe you're, certain print type or whatever, then you get this. And so that guides them. But what you're really trying to do is convince them that now's a good time to make a purchase with you. And so oftentimes those conversations start off with an offer of a discount, but they end up with a totally different order, because all you're really trying to do is remind them. And so it really works best with existing customers, because they already appreciate your value and what you're providing. So a discount's not going to skew their perspective on what it is you're providing, and it's not going to relabel you as a business. Whereas if you're trying to attract new customers with a discount, now they were attracted to you because of your discount, not because of your quality or your service.
Right. It goes back to that whole conversation we were having kind of toward the beginning of this, is what value are you providing? Are you only selling yourself on the discount, or are you selling yourself on a high quality, dependable, being a high quality, dependable decorator, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah. Okay. Final question. What is your favorite part about being in the apparel decorating industry? And why do you love giving business advice to everybody?
Oh man, favorite part, aside from the fact that it's unlimited free apparel for myself. That's what we all love, because it's what we all wear every day, is the things we printed. And it kind of makes it where you can't pay for anything else unless it's from another screen printer because
Right,
you just
right.
know it's going to be awful.
Yeah, you just judge everything, right? Like, sorry, not to
Yeah.
derail the conversation here, but yeah, you like judge everything else you see, right?
Yeah. Yep. No, aside from that, it really is the brands that you get to work with, and being able to play a role in helping drive someone else's either team forward or group forward or organization forward or just to help them achieve something that without a decorator they would not have been able to achieve. And as an artist, to be able to see the designs come to life on apparel is pretty special. But on the business side, it's like being able to see what you're able to provide for them beyond just decorated apparel, and how they were able to use that. So, yeah, that's what I enjoy most. And then what I enjoy about giving business advice, I mean, I've just been just totally obsessed and encapsulated by business for many years, most of my life. I mean, I'm 41 now, and so I've spent enough time in different industries to really gain a healthy respect for business of all sizes. And I just love it, especially small business. And so as I got more experience in the screen print industry and saw so many decorators who were truly great artists and great printers, but struggled to make the right business decisions, I knew that that was an area that I'm so passionate about and experienced in that I can help others do that. And so I couldn't help but step into the industry in that capacity. And so I just love it. I love business. I love marketing. I love strategy. So I can't help but share that.
I love that. It's pretty clear just listening to you talk how passionate you are about it. Jesse, before we wrap up this episode, where can people connect with you, learn more, get in touch?
Yeah, so most active, I mean, got a lot of content on YouTube. The channel is Startup Screen Printing. Also post some things on Instagram occasionally, not quite as active on there because this is, one of three side gigs. So stay pretty busy, but you can usually find any links to anything I'm doing at startupscreenprinting.com or joining the email list on there. I always send out emails to any new programs or events or anything that I'm working on or a part of. And so that's the best place, kind of a central hub to find links.
Excellent. Love it. And of course, we'll share all of those links and ways to connect with Jesse and learn more in the show notes for this episode. Be sure to stay connected to apparelist.com as well, because as we mentioned, Jesse is one of our expert contributors and he does put out content with us. So we've got lots of things from him and our other content creators as well. Jesse, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Cassie. It was a pleasure to be on here.